Hi guys, Losing Louie here with a bit of an unusual video for those of you that have and love cats. Now first of all, if you've come to this video because your cat has a urinary blockage, I want you to immediately turn this off, pick up your cat, put them in the cat carrier, and go to the emergency vet. Go to the emergency animal hospital immediately. Do not even wait an hour, all right? And I'll tell you why that is in a minute. I'm going to tell you the story of Shy Shy. What you have in front of you are various props that I'm using to talk about cats. Well, you know, we had a situation occur recently with Shy Shy, our little rescue cat. He's about 3 years old now. We got him as a kitten, and he was a feral cat. We named him Shy Shy because he was very reserved, not easy to handle, and we thought he'd be a good one. My son fell in love with him, so we brought him home. Oh, here he is. Maybe he'll visit us. Hi, Shy Shy. It's a beautiful American short hair, and he's a boy. Now we have a long history of cats. I put these pictures up here because this is our wedding photo. Wish I could show it to you in detail. But in our album, we have our 4 children, which are our 4 cats when we got married. They're all gone now, but the white one is Tiffany and the gray one is Jenny. And then over on the right side, we had Shy Shy. We had Tigger, and we also had Callie, the little Callie Cooks. But this guy, my buddy Shy Shy, my son and I brought him home from Petco. He was a rescue cat, as I said, and we had him for about a year. Well, after about a year, and I'm saying that loosely, I came home one night, and he's a very active cat. I mean, he's extremely healthy, extremely active. But I came home one night and found him sitting on the bed, and his tummy was really, really large. It was about double the size you see it here. Very distended is how I would explain it. And it was literally gurgling. It was moving back and forth. And he was crying, but in a way he doesn't normally cry, with kind of a soft mutter. And he was finding it hard to stand up. He couldn't jump off the bed. And he just was not himself. And I wasn't sure what was going on. I hadn't had this happen before. But long story short, he had a urinary tract infection. Okay, male kitties are very prone to these things, which is when the impurities in their food and in their diet and in their lifestyle build up in their urinary tract. They start to have trouble urinating, and then before long there is a blockage. They can't urinate at all, and they just close down. Okay, when that happens, if that does happen to you or a cat of yours, it's imperative that you get them to the animal hospital immediately. So the story of Shy Shy, and I'm going to tell you ways to prevent this in a little bit, really common sense stuff to prevent really costly and sad tragedies with your cat. But before I do that, I'll tell you the story of Shy Shy. So I had always thought that being frugal was the way to go, and animals, you know, were no exception. So I bought his food like everybody does. I bought it over the counter. I bought it at the grocery store. I tried Whiskas, and we tried Friskies, and we, you know, all the major brands, both wet and dry. And he loved it, okay? And he ate it up. And if I could find it at the dollar store, if there was, you know, an off-brand of Friskies, I'd buy that too. I thought, you know, saving money on cat food was the way to go. And, you know, he's just a cat. What does it matter? Well, it turns out that the food I was feeding him was killing him. Virtually anything you buy in the grocery store, and this is what my vet told me, and I'll tell you, and, you know, prove it wrong if you want, but is loaded with stuff that can cause urinary tract infections. Now, this did happen to Shy Shy. I did take him to the animal hospital, luckily. Matter of fact, he's very feral, or he was very feral, and I had his kitty box, and I tried to put him in the box. You know, it was the middle of the night, and I didn't want to go, but I tried to put him in the box the first time, and out came the claws, and he wasn't going in the box, right? And I was like, Shy, we need to go to the vet. And I tried it the second time. With all my might, I tried to get him in the box without letting him rip me up because his claws are large. And the second time, he wouldn't let me get in the box. He started to rip the box apart. And I said to him, Shy, if you don't let me put you in this box the next time, you're not going to the vet. And I really meant it because he was really going to do some damage. And luckily, the third time I got him in the box, much to his chagrin, and we went to the vet. Anyway, it turns out his diagnosis, and he needed fluids, and he needed to have a catheter put in, and he needed to have his immunities brought up to speed, which took about 2 days and over $1,000 of vet maintenance bills. But it turns out what he had after all the blood tests was he had a struvite blockage. Now, I had a cat before that had an ash blockage, and that may be common as well. But I'm going to talk about Shy. He had a struvite blockage. Struvites are stuff that are common in ordinary over-the-counter grocery store cat foods. It's also cheap seafood is also a source of struvites. And in a male cat, those items build up in his bladder until he can no longer urinate. All right, so long story short, they gave him lots of IVs, they catheterized him, and he came home. And they said to me afterwards, okay, what we recommend is the penisectomy, which is where you can imagine what that is, to make a boy into a girl so that he would no longer have the urinary tract infections. And at that moment, I came home and I said to myself, that's really not what I want to do. Plus, it was about $2,000. So you can also consider this the story of how you might save 3 kilos of silver. So I came home and I started researching, as I do, and I dug into all the literature and the blogs about struvite blockages, or any type of blockages. And I quickly found out that the food that I was feeding him was really not good. I also found out that seafood of any variety, unless it's human seafood, is loaded with lots of impurities. So after research, I came upon this food here called Merrick. I'm not a salesman for Merrick. I want to tell you, this is what made my cat well. Because I said to myself, I don't want to do that operation. So I immediately switched him to Merrick cat food. And this can be found at Petco. I buy mine at Chewy's. Chewy's. It's really cheap there. I buy it by the case. This is chicken pate. He also likes the turkey pate. He also likes the beef pate. We do not get seafood because seafood is a contributor to blockages. He gets the dry food. Now this is the Merrick grain-free. See, grain is also a source of blockage. You want protein in your food, not grain. So he gets the dry food, but he gets it as a treat. So here's the deal. You want to keep your cat well hydrated, and cats don't drink much water. So the way you keep them hydrated is you feed them wet food. Do not feed them a bowl of dry food. Do not leave the dry food out all day long. You're going to make them fat. You're going to kill them. So you give them the wet food, and then when they're done with the wet food, we give Shy about 4 tablespoons of dry food. It's a treat. We give we give him the dry food at the same time that we give the cat at the same time we give the dog her little dog biscuit treats. And he's happy. He's had his wet food, he's hydrated, he's had a protein-rich diet. So we've been doing this now for 2 years. Okay, this is 2 years since the original thing. And what the vet said is if they've gotten it once, they're probably going to get it again. And note the $2,000 operation that we could have done. So this is my message to you is if you have cats and you really love them and you don't want to incur large vet bills and you don't want to see them die, avoid the foods in the grocery store. Highly recommend Merrick. Highly, highly recommend it. All right? Consider more wet food than dry food and see how that works for you. If this has not happened to you and you have a little boy cat, switch him today because you don't want it to happen to him. Probably would happen between the ages of 1 to 2 if it was going to happen, but it could happen to older cats as well. So that's my public service announcement and my pitch for Merrick wet and dry cat food. And again, there was nothing better than coming home. Well, actually, it was the next day, but you know how you come home and you're tired and you're like, oh shit, I got something to do. I got to go to the vet. And, you know, I don't like going to the animal hospital because I associate it with spending lots of money. But, you know, we took Shy Shy there. But the next day, after realizing that he would have died, you know, the kidneys immediately fail, and then they die, basically, after the kidneys are gone. But the next day after I came home, he hadn't come home yet, but my son, Anthony, at the time, who was younger, said to me, "Thank you for saving my cat's life." Okay, I don't think I have ever been more touched than when he said that. And we did save his life, and luckily we didn't procrastinate, which I certainly could have done, but I didn't. And if you want to save your cat's life, really consider changing their diet, because pay now, pay later, you know, the vet bills are huge, and the anxiety and the angst of the family is huge as well. So if you're like me and my wife, and you consider your cats your family, give it a try. Okay, see you guys. Losing Louie signing out.